Welcome back to The Education Currency. I'm Robert Namoski.
And I'm Chris Kaladikis.
Well, we have a special guest for you today, our first guest.
Big day.
Welcome, Mr. Stoyan.
Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. Now, what we're going to be talking about is classroom management. And I don't think anybody does it better than this man right here.
No pressure.
No pressure at all.
None at all.
At all. So, a little bit about yourself. How'd you get into teaching? What got you here? And yeah.
So basically just, I've always had, my mum actually was, God bless her, she was the one that actually suggested teaching to me when I finished my HSC. She would always turn around and say to me, "You're so good with kids. You always enjoy." Like we had a whole bunch of little cousins at the time, and I would always look after them. And she's like, "You're so good with them. Why not be a teacher?" So I did what I had to do. Got into uni, became a PE teacher to start with, and along that journey while I was at uni, Robert actually allowed me to teach all the kids classes at Jiu-Jitsu, which was another massive indicator to me that I was on the right path because I just loved it. And from there, I got into teaching. I've been teaching for 12 years now. I've loved every moment of it. It's just been a wonderful journey, and the kids that I've met have definitely impacted my life in so many positive ways, and I hope I've done the same for them. And it's just a little sad sometimes when you actually see all the kids that you've met and taught, and they come up to you going, "Oh, hey, Mr. K," and then you look at them going, "Hey, you." And I remember I had that just on Saturday. A boy came up to me going, "Do you remember me? Do you remember me?" And told me his name. And once he dropped the surname, I knew exactly who he was. But it's been a great journey. I'm a science head teacher at the moment. Trying my best and enjoying it. And
I heard a little bit more than science. They gave you a bit of a promotion up from that.
Oh, look, they're testing a new role. So what they're actually doing in my school is that they've implemented a 2IC process. So I'm currently, it's first year they're doing it. So I was fortunate enough to be accepted into the 2IC to the deputies, where, I work closely with them, and I fill in where I can, and they're going to be teaching me some cool new things. And, I just want to see how it all progresses.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. Learning curve for you as well, challenging times.
Massive, yeah.
I know what you mean with the students too when they leave school. Like I saw one the other day who only just left last year, and it's like the amount of size they put on, like after going to the gym straight after school, and then when they got facial hair and casual clothes, you have to take a double take sometimes just to remember who they are.
The beards get me.
Yeah.
The beards. I remember this kid, he was 6'2", and he looked at me and he had a proper beard, and I looked at him going, "You don't remember me?" I'm looking at you going, once he said his name, I go, "Dude, if it wasn't for the beard, 100% I know exactly who you were." But it's just, they changed so much.
Yeah. And look, you mentioned that obviously you've gone into a head teacher role and you're trying out that new role. Obviously, when you are in a head teacher role, you're no longer just working as yourself as a teacher. Your role now is supporting other teachers at school. Correct. Would you like to talk us through that? What's it like, that part of the job?
It's, look, I didn't realize how much I was extremely nervous to start with. I've never had to run a faculty. I've never had to manage people. And when it came time to it, I just thought, how would I like to be treated?
Yeah.
How would I want someone to support me? How has the people that I've had as teachers and mentors in the past helped me be better? And I just went in with a philosophy of just give them what they need to do what they can and make sure life is easy.
Yeah.
I just want to make life easier for everybody, because if I know my staff members that I work with are happy, then they're going to do the best for their kids. And fortunately, I've only been head teacher for 2 years, and my staff, touch wood, I'm not trying to, they've actually said to me that they've had the best time with me as their head teacher, because one of the guys said it to me best. He goes, "You take all the hard stuff away from us, the conversations with parents, the managing the kids, making sure that the stress isn't there so we can come and do our job the best."
Yeah.
And that's fundamentally what I genuinely am probably best at. I know how to manage the difficult situations and conversations. And it goes back to obviously my martial arts training and things like that, where I was, Robert actually was the reason why. He would, I remember it was purple belt, and I was fighting to get my brown, and he said, "You're not getting it until you do a year's worth of competitions." And I was like, and I got a severe, I get nervous.
Yeah.
Face would go pale.
I knew you would win.
I stressed and stressed and stressed. And then once I figured out going and competing was just like any other thing, I would go and have a conversation afterwards going, hold on a minute, I've just fought a full-grown human being. And that was the hardest thing I've done. I can have this serious conversation with this student or this parent.
Yeah.
You know, and then it set me up for that confident, difficult situations. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's why today especially, we've heard your classroom management skills are quite extraordinary. So with yourself, as well as, let's say we'll go right to the beginning, a new teacher, where would they fail, and how can we as teachers pick up on that? What are the cues for you when a new student teacher or a teacher new to the profession walks in and you go, okay, I have to watch this a little closer? What are the signs for you?
Okay. With anyone that walks into a classroom, it's difficult because everyone expects the kids to be perfect. And they're not, right? We've all walked in going, I'm going to make the next Albert Einstein in science. I'm going to make the next, this person or that person. And all our intentions are perfect. We want to do the best. But a lot of people don't realize that kids may not be interested in the subject that we're teaching. They might not be interested in maths, science, English, whatever it is. I know I didn't enjoy English when I was growing up, but now give me a book, I'll read it.
Yeah.
We need to first, and this is where all teachers, I think, start to realize, you need to make your content relevant for them. Start by doing something that is going to interest the kids and get that wow factor. For example, I'll give you an example. My year 7s came in first year. This year, we were talking about lab safety, right? So I've got this experiment where it's only a demonstration because it's obviously students can't do it, it's unsafe. But I go, oh, look, guys, I've got a chemical here, wave it around in a flask. Looks like water, correct? Everyone's like, yeah, it does. Oh, look, I've got a little bit of black powder here. What's going to happen if I put them together? Probably nothing, right? Everyone's like, yeah, nothing. I put it into the fume cover, turned on the fume cover, dropped it in. Poof, oxygen comes straight out the top. And all the kids were like, whoa. Okay, now let's talk about safety. What can go wrong in this situation? And then just from that situation, you can go, hold on a minute. I'm intrigued. He's showing me something that's interesting. That could be potentially dangerous. I should be paying attention because we might be doing experiments like this tomorrow. So engaging the kids is fundamental. Next would be the way you conduct yourself in the classroom. You set up your ground rules from the beginning. I've always said to my staff members, I'd rather you guys lose 2, 3, 4 periods at the beginning of the year developing your class and making sure students understand what the expectations are, then you lose a period a week for the rest of the year, right? So what I say by that is, like, obviously, start at the door. How do you talk to kids? How do you get them ready? Do you sit there and just go, stand at the front at the front of the 2 straight lines and say, everybody get your book, pens, R's out? Because we all know your voice isn't traveling anywhere. So my big thing is stand at a 45-degree angle, look at the kids at the back, you can get the kids at the front. Start with students, books, pens, diaries, 2 straight lines. Thank you very much. Guys, lean off the wall. We know what we need to do. Are we ready to learn? Are we ready to enter? Notice you get everyone's attention. Perfect. Guys, for me, this is how I run my class. Walk inside, stand behind your chairs. Put your books on the table. Kids walk in, stand behind their chairs. Awesome. I'm ready to go. Next, and this is, sorry, I should have been a step back on this one, but always have an activity ready to go. Your learning intention, success criteria is already on the board. If you have the ability to do that. I know sometimes we're rushing from class to class. I'm fortunate I've got one classroom. I don't have to rush anywhere else. But have something ready. So when you get in there, kids are ready to go. They're all standing behind their chairs. I'll mark your name, take a seat. When you take a seat, start copying the learning intentions and success criteria, and we'll get started. Boom, 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 boom. It sets the class up. We're all done the first thing I expected from them. They're all seated. They've all got they're ready to go. And another thing is that I've got 3 rules, which are, everyone knows the school rules, right? So this is an expectation. These are the school rules. I've got my 3 rules, which are unbreakable. And this is the main thing. So for example, my rule is that my first rule is always the respect rule. All right, when I am talking, everyone is giving me the respect and we are all listening. And when you are talking, myself included, we give you the respect and we listen. And I will stop people from talking Well, for example, if someone's reading, Robert's reading, you're having a conversation, I'll stop and go, excuse me, Robert, can you, one sec, Chris, do you mind if you stop your conversation? Someone's talking. Remember
Yes,
my
sir.
rule.
Sorry, sir.
Thank you. And then I go, Robert, apologies, could you continue? You know, it's a simple, basic rule. I go, that's my respect rule. I go, I've got another rule. Another rule is no student is ever allowed behind my desk. And they're like, oh, whoa. And I go, no, you get to the edge. You can never get a step behind. That is the fundamental rule. It's unbreakable. And the next rule is no one is allowed to move around my class without permission. Hand goes up, ask, and you can move. And the kids just, and they know, once you hear these 3 rules, they understand and go, these 3 are unbreakable. Everything else we can have a conversation with. So once you start to develop your foundation rules, I think that's where teachers can start to develop other things. The next thing is, and this is a fundamental one as well, always follow through with anything that you say to the children. So if you're sitting there saying you're getting a 15-minute reflection, that child must get a 15-minute reflection.
Yeah.
Don't tell someone that something's happening and then it doesn't happen. I know when I first started teaching, particularly when I first started in my school, I would say to a student, look, you've got 5 minutes. You're staying back. I'll see you at recess. No worries. They don't come. I made it my mission to go out into the playground, find this student and ask him to come back.
Yeah.
Now, that made myself more visible to the students. Oh, wow, Mr. K goes out. He's active.
Yes.
He goes and has a conversation with the student. He goes and grabs kids. He pulls them in for their reflections. He knows, like, they know that I will come and collect them to do their 5 minutes. There is no, and I'm not going, and then it's going to get swept under the rug business.
Yeah, they can't pull the wool over you.
No way. So they need to understand that you're actively doing what you're saying you're doing, because once kids know that you're not going to follow through, then they know they're going to just get away with something. And that's where another thing, a lot of people will start to drop the ball. I know I myself, I've done it once, like when in my early years, I was like, oh, you're getting 15 minutes. Yeah. All of a sudden, everyone's packed up and left. And then I'll go back to my staff room and I'm just like, oh, man, he didn't come for his 15. And then I started to realize, hold on, go out, talk to them, get them back, ask them what's going on, ask them why they were acting the way they were acting, have a conversation with that kid, treat them like an adult.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, of course, but talk to them, because they're going through so many things themselves. They're changing, the hormones and everything like that. I learned a lot of this as your advisor. So just have those conversations, see how they're going, see why they're doing what they're doing, and then go from there. Yeah. And 9 times out of 10, these kids will, once you treat them like young adults, they will respond like some. Yeah. And try to do those, I think, would be helpful.
Of course, and they're young human beings. We all want understanding, and a big thing in schools is students appreciate having a voice. Mm-hmm. And it's good that you said you have your fixed rules, and then you said then other things. Yep, then we can have a conversation. I think as long as the students obviously are respecting your rules, then on other issues that they probably appreciate, they can talk to you, and obviously they feel respected as well.
Correct. Yeah, 100%. We have these conversations all the time with other kids. Like, I know, for example, the kids like to bring things up in science. They get a little curious, they ask questions. They even ask me questions about, for example, my jiu-jitsu, my weightlifting and things like that as well. And, as long as it's done in a respectful way, why not have these conversations with these kids? They want to get to know you, and as long as we know what where the appropriate line is, and we keep those boundaries, because that's most important, because sometimes you fall in the trap, right? There's some kids they'll bait you, and all of a sudden you're talking about things you shouldn't. Yeah. We know where the line is. We know what we can and can't talk about. Weightlifting's a safe thing, jiu-jitsu's a safe thing, and just they want to get to know you. And vice versa, we should technically always try to get to know them a little bit. I know I have had conversations with kids where they thought I was really interested in cars. And the kid's like, man, so you love cars. I go, I'll be honest with you, I actually don't like them. Yeah. I'm just interested because you're interested. And I want to talk to you about it because I want to get to know you. Yeah. Because once I know you, then you understand that I care. And once you get that care factor, they will also respect you a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like, for some kids, they won't even learn from you until they feel like you're making that attempt to know them.
100%.
But then back to classroom management, actually, what about the disciplinary action in the classroom? So what would you recommend to a beginning teacher? It's quite scary. You're moving into this world. University prepares you literally, prepares you in theory, but then you're stepping into a classroom. You're left all alone. What is the one thing that they have to be careful of? Absolutely.
Don't fall into the trap of getting emotional. Number one thing, I was struggling with this for my first, I think, year, is you get into this argument or this confrontation with a student and then it becomes emotional. And then you respond in an emotional way. Remember, they're children, right? You were a child once before. They say and do things because they're emotional.
So you've seen it yourself, like obviously in the position you are, where teachers, they do confront a child, the argument escalates, and then the emotion of the teacher takes over the conversation in a way that is non-productive, or is the child disrespectful? At what point do you believe there's that balance of, okay, and what would you recommend to a teacher? How would they, after, do you debrief? What happens?
Oh, look, I've had situations where kids have just gone off the Richter scale and I've just said, stop, come outside. Your manner, the way you speak to them, will change the conversation. If I'm going and matching volume for volume, that will escalate. If they're going up, I'm going quieter. My voice changes. My look about me changes. Like, for example, whenever I teach in the classroom, I'm very loud. I'm teaching a point, man, we're learning about osmosis today. We're doing cell division. This is super exciting. But when it comes to discipline, I look at a kid and go, excuse me, you know exactly what you're doing. Bring it back. Get your pen.
So body language changes.
100%.
Tone of voice gets very serious.
Everything changes. Now, you can always match a kid volume for volume. Not a problem. You can always get as angry as the child. Not a problem. But remember, you're the adult in the room. You've got 30 other students. You're supposed to be the role model. Model the behavior you expect every single time. Is that child escalating? Yes, he is. How do we de-escalate the child? Now, for example, just 2 days ago, there was a child that would not leave the room. Teacher said, look, you're talking, leave. No, I'm not doing it. One of my other staff members walked in. I was unavailable. Walked in, tried to get the child up. No, not doing it. Not leaving. By the time I got there, I walked in, talked to the child. I go, look, come inside. Let's have a conversation. No, I'm not going out. I go, look, I'm not arguing with you. I want a conversation. I just want to talk to you. Come outside, sit on the seats, tell me what happened. No. You're not even in trouble yet. Come and have a chat.
I just want to know, yeah.
I just want to know. And then she got up, she came outside, she sat down. I go, what happened? And then she starts. And the biggest thing I think a lot of people start to not realize is just listen to them for a minute. Just give them that minute. Let them say what they need to say, because after they've said what they've said, then the reasonableness comes out of the child. Because now it's like, I've offloaded, I've said everything. Okay, this is what's happened. Do you see what's been said? Do you understand that if this was and then this is the excuse I always use with the kids. I go, do you know if this was in my classroom, you would never have gotten to this point? And the kid goes, oh, but. I go, but what? There is no buts. The teacher in front of you is doing the job. They deserve a little bit of respect, as do you. But if you're not showing it, how can you receive it? Like I always show it to you, I expect it back in return. And the kids look at it and see, and they go, okay, sweet, this is what it is. So for a beginning teacher, when it starts to escalate, bring your tone down. Take a step back. Calm the situation. Go, okay, so-and-so. Dude, relax, man. Come outside for a minute. Just come outside. Make sure everyone's got an activity inside so they're not just sitting there trying to listen to your conversation. And they just go, XYZ. What's going on, man? Come on. You were talking. You know that. Yeah, but. Go, hold on a minute. You were talking. You didn't follow my instructions. Then you started arguing back. That's not fair. I've got 29 kids in the class.
And they acknowledge it's not fair, and then you can move up in a positive way after that.
We move forward. I go, come on, man, go back inside, please. Take a seat. Let's do our work. But if the behavior continues, there's consequences.
And I like the fact that you debriefed them, but then you also made those connections to, do you see how your behavior is affecting the class, the teacher, that whole notion of restorative justice. So it's not just, okay, they've calmed down, but hopefully they've learned from that interaction to how it was disruptive, and then potentially how they could go about it differently if they are feeling that way again.
100%. Well, like, for example, when I do that, like, that wouldn't happen in my class. Yeah, but sir, you're different. Yeah, but hold on a minute. It's not about being different. It's not about you. I know you respect me. I know you enjoy my time and I enjoy being in my lessons and things like that. But that's not fair.
Yeah.
like, what if I was doing the same thing to you? How would you feel? You know, I like your friend, but I don't like you. How would you feel about that? And then the kid looks at me going, oh, but I go, but it's exactly what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
Like, that teacher in that classroom is my friend. That teacher in the classroom directly reports to me. I am their head teacher. I need to support them.
Yeah.
But then you're telling me that you would do something for me, but wouldn't do something for my friend. That's not fair. And then they start to see it for the bigger picture, because now you're talking to them like an adult.
Yeah.
You're painting it for them so explicitly that they're like, oh, fair's fair. Yeah. And then another thing, and is particularly with a beginning teacher, is state the facts, stay on the facts, repeat the facts.
Yeah.
Don't sit there and get into the trap of but, and then the student will argue, and then the teacher will,
They're trying to up each other.
they're trying to up each other.
Yeah.
Go, listen, XYZ, you've had a conversation, this is your first warning, get back to task. Nah, but so, calm down. You know what you're doing. Let's get back to the task. Don't fall in that trap. Stay straight to the point.
Yeah.
And
It's very interesting. It's because obviously you've got the presence, you've got the structure, the body language. I mean, your aura fills the room. But someone stepping in for that first time, kids read the body language straight away.
It's intimidating.
It's almost, okay, we got this teacher just by the mannerisms, just by the way you structure and move. So just like we said in our previous episodes, while you're at uni, go teach somewhere, sport somewhere, anywhere. Get used to that voice projection, get used to that body projection. And you demonstrated it now better than ever. What about yourself, Chris? What would you add to this? Look, you're in quite a senior role as well as year coordinator.
And what I'd like to add, and look, and it's great to hear the strategies you've got in place. You know, as a head teacher, you're supporting your staff, and it sounds like you're doing a fantastic job there. One thing that I experience in my role, and it's a message that I'd always like to illustrate to parents, a hot topic of bullying. So from your perspective of bullying in schools, do you have a specific definition of what it is? And if a parent is concerned, how should they go about it?
Look, bullying comes in many different forms, right? There's verbal, physical. It can come in through anything realistically, and it's just realistically about a child not feeling comfortable or feeling kind of put down in a situation in front of their peers. Realistically, it's making you feel like you've been put down and embarrassed in front of everybody. That's basically how I understand bullying. Either from, someone so-and-so teases someone about their assessment mark, or, they're physically bigger, so they're pushing the kid that's smaller around. It's just about making one person feel bigger than the other person, right? Now, in terms of parents need to understand that they need to contact us. They need to trust that we are going to do our job to look after this student. Yeah. You trust us to have these kids in our care, and believe me when I say this, every teacher is always going to look after the kids that you give us. Yeah. We genuinely, I care about every one of my kids. I've got a school that has 800, almost 900 kids, and I genuinely almost know all of their names. Yeah. I actively go out and speak to them, and go out on recess and lunch and have a chat with the boys. And as I'm also a boys mentor, so I talk to all the boys that are in my program. I have conversations with everyone. As a teacher, I've got a lot of students. They will come over and ask me questions about, and I'm always ready to talk. I've got this open door policy with my kids as well. Come, knock on the door, I'm available. So parents need to understand, trust us to do what we can do with the situation itself. Give us a call. Let us know. We're here to listen. We're here to act. And we will do our very best with the tools that we have to support the kids and stop any negative impacts on our students, because that's fundamentally, we want them coming to school. I remember what it was like for me when I used to go into, for example, look, Robert was my maths tutor. I'll be honest, Wednesday afternoon when it was my tutoring lesson was some of the biggest highlights of my life. I was sitting, I was a 14-year-old boy, and I just see this, a person that actually taught me maths for the first time, that I actually understood how to. Look, I went from bottom of the class to the first in the class within 3 months. It was, but it's about having those connections with those teachers, about having a support model. You know what I mean? Like Rob would till this day, I know that if I call Rob and say, look, I need to talk to you about something, 20 minutes, coffee, come pick me up.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And that's the same thing I try to do with my students as well.
Yeah.
And I say, like, I remember a boy last year, he was in my year 7 class, and I always said, man, hey, I'm available. Come, recess, lunch. If I'm not on the playground, knock on my door. I'll be there. If I have to, I'll walk outside with my food and I'll eat it in front of you if you don't mind. But I will always be there. And I remember boys would come and knock and say, look, sir, I'm feeling like this. I could sit down and tell me how you're feeling. You know, and it's just, like, for example, when I was year advisor, I would always get those conversations where someone was doing something to someone else. Okay, no worries. I'll sort it out.
Yeah.
I know a friend of mine actually, she from high school, her son now comes to the school that I'm at. And she called me directly. She said, look, this is what's happened with my son. There was a bit of bullying. I go, leave it with me. Went out, dealt with the students, dealt with the problem. All of a sudden, boys left, gone to school happy. His mum gave me a phone call the next day. I go, I don't know what you've done, but he's super, super happy. And I go, I told you I'll sort it. And I like to make sure that when I do speak to a parent about this, I always give them my definite, I will sort this, leave it with me. Let me do what I need to do.
So even from so the parent, how can the parent put the brakes on that? Like what in your experiences, when do the parents make it more difficult?
The difficult part of it stems from expecting more than what we can actually physically do. Things that are like, for example, social media things and stuff like that, we can do what we can, but we can't take the phones off them after school. Yeah. We can't delete accounts. Like, there is a realm where we're completely ready to support the students, and there is a time where a parent needs to genuinely step in and do their roles. Yeah. You know, and we're not there 24/7. We can't, you know, there's no magic rub the lamp and bang, we've sorted something out. Parents need to understand that bullying can happen when it's outside of school, and they need to be proactive about it as well. And some are very, very good at it, and they do so many fantastic things, and they support their children, and they do their very best. And then some parents genuinely need support from us, because some have asked me parental advice when I don't even have children myself. But you know, like, look, this is what I think. Yeah. You know, give that a go. Oh, wow, that's actually, I've never thought of it like that. And but again, that comes from teaching the kids, you know, 9 to 3 every day. We have different strategies that can support different students. So if it's a difficult situation where a parent needs support, 100% talk to us. We'll give you some ideas and strategies to the best of our knowledge, of course. But fundamentally, things that happen that are outside of our realm, the parent needs to step in and do their part. Yeah. All right. And it's when we have this parent-teacher connection where we're bouncing off each other and supporting each other, it's where we do absolute magic with the kids. Yeah.
100%. Like, there are some things obviously that we can't do that are outside of school in addressing those issues. But yes, we are around young people all the time, so we do have our ear close to the ground, and we know what the kind of issues are. And so yes, parents are always welcome to ask us for support and knowledge, and we can do what we can. But yeah, from that point, not much else we can do going that way. One other thing I wanted to stem across. So obviously you're mentioning how much you're supporting the wellbeing of students with some great stuff there. Just before we started on this podcast today, you also mentioned as well supporting teacher wellbeing. You've got some great initiatives going, and obviously paramount in these days where teachers' stress is high. Would you like to talk about some of that stuff?
All right, so this is brand new. It's in the pipeline, so we understand this, and my principal might be listening, so I hope she's okay with this.
Great ideas.
No, but like I floated this idea, and what I've done is I know a faculty member of mine, and I like to do weights. Okay, and this actually started when a few of the PE staff and I started to do weights together, and then I was like, maybe I can get more of the staff members that are in the school just coming into the gym on a Monday afternoon. We're calling it Squat Mondays. I thought it would be nice to do legs together, so I made a little group chat. I've asked a whole bunch of people from different faculties. I thought it'd be great, so everyone actually, we're always stuck, we're always busy, we're always with the same faculties. It'd be nice to talk to someone that's from another area. So Monday was our first session, genuine session, where we had, we had the 2 science teachers, a youth worker, and 2 maths teachers come in, and we were just what's the exercises? This is what we need to do. I was correcting everyone on their form and saying, look, you can do a little bit more. Come on, let's go. So, that comes from Robert, from always correcting me on mine.
No, you're actually, it's the reverse now.
Nah, yeah.
Actually, you've taught me 3-4 new exercises.
Sometimes I'm a little better. No. And so it was great. It was just the first initial thing because I thought it would be nice just to, we're always so mentally switched on. How do we physically switch on sometimes too? And I was hoping to also not only do a weight session, but also do a walk and talk session where maybe we go across to the park and we can, let's all get together. Let's go for a walk around the park. Let's talk about our day. Let's get things off our chest, or even let's go for a run. Jog and run, walk and talk, get the school really working together, getting to know each other, because I think the more that we become friends as staff members, the better the connection is, the better support we have for one another, and the better we look out for one another as well. And also, the more you know somebody, the more comfortable you are to ask for help.
Yes.
I think that's the biggest thing as well. Like, I'm always willing to, just ask for me. It's just hey, Stoyan, can you do, yes, what is it? I'll sort it out right now for you. Not a problem. Tell me what you need. And I do that from the casual teacher to the principal. I treat everyone the same. Even, a GA, do you need help lifting that down the stairs? I walk over, help them pick it up. Like, everyone is everyone, like someone special, you know what I mean, in my workplace. So I just wanted to do something special for everybody. Let's go and do something together as a school. Let's do something fun. I don't know, I get a kick out of it because I enjoy my weights. So just wanting to support staff members in their well-being, the physical side of things, you know what I mean? And a little bit we will work on the psychological side of things, having our chats, debriefing, not taking that stress home with us, which is, I think, such an important thing because, I would always say, and my home is my holiday. Like, I don't want to take my problems into my home.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. I want to walk in and go, this is my place. And I like other teachers to feel the same. Like, I don't want us to go home and be like, so-and-so this, and I've had that day, and I've had this day, and it's just been a day. And it's just
leave it at school.
Just leave it at school. We are at school, we do our thing, and go home and chill.
Yeah.
It's the best thing.
Do you think that would be the biggest cause of so many teachers actually dropping out? Because it is quite a shortage now in teaching.
Yeah.
Look,
did they burn out? I'm new to actual schools. Do they burn out because of this? Is it because of the stress? Why is there such a shortfall in teaching, and why have so many teachers quit? What do you guys think, Chris? Stoyan?
Well, look, that actually is a very hot topic right now. With when do we switch off? In the afternoon, and they're obviously talking about whether they're going to legislate that and what it's going to look like and if it's going to happen, essentially. But yeah, sometimes if you are taking your work home and then that's on your mind, and especially if it's a Friday afternoon and then you're dwelling something over the weekend and then you go into the unknown on Monday, like, it can really take a toll on a teacher. And also just with that, and what you've been saying too, like, those initiatives set are fantastic because twofold, you're building community within your school. And yes, sometimes you do get so caught up in work that you do forget to look after yourself and your own mental health well-being. And they sound like a good way that you're kind of watching out for each other and you are doing activities that, hopefully pushing each other to support your mental health and your well-being and prioritize it, because obviously that does help you with your coping mechanisms and all that. But look, I think that, yes, we do have to find some way that when you do go home, these issues, they can wait till Monday and you can switch off. Easier said than done. What do you think yourself, Stoyan?
Look, it's just, it's being a teacher is not always the easiest occupation, realistically speaking. It's massively rewarding at the end of the day. Like, and the way I look at it is, if I can change one kid's life, I've done my job. Have I left a positive mark on this kid? And that's what I'm really always looking at to do. But it's draining at times. It can be. I know, for example, we have this thing, and my fiance is also a school teacher, and she calls it the week 8 feels, right? so the term is always, you hit the ground running week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you're going hard. 7, it feels like you've got a bit of a vest on you. 8 hits you. It's like when you're going for a run and then you hit that wall. And I explained it to my faculty members once, and she was phenomenal when my fiance actually explained it to me. And I was like, it's the week 8 feels. Okay, this is the hardest week to get over. It's like going up the hill, and it's the last little bit.
But it's the socializing with teachers that does it. I guess I myself was never felt any of this. I was super fortunate to fall into a department where things work like clockwork. But the department actually does socialize really well. Really well. We have breakfasts we have before schools during term. Then there's dinners. We went to trivia nights, etc. And just building that team camaraderie within the school, within the department, and within the school actually really does make that big difference. And me and Chris are fortunate enough to actually just have that. We've got that in buckets.
Yeah, we're very lucky in that aspect. And look, actually, I want to touch on something you said then too, about how rewarding the job is. Is there any particular moments in your career that stand out to you? Like, you know what, this has been great. You know, something that might inspire teachers out there. What have been some of your wins in teaching?
There's been so many. Like, how do you pinpoint one? There was this one time I remember this one boy. He came from another school. His first year in the school. He came in year 10, and he was just quiet, had a bit of a different sense of humor, and I would always walk over. Like, I'm always happy-go-lucky in the class. Like, hey man, how's your day going? You know, what's going on? You know, I see someone looking a little down. I say, hey man, what's going on? You okay today? And I'll approach him quietly. I don't have to make a spectacle of it, you know, in front of everyone and be like, you know. But I remember this kid, and I would slowly keep talking to him, keep building that relationship, keep talking, keep making him laugh in class. And I remember it was my birthday. My birthday is in November, so it was the end of the year. And he comes up to me at the end of the class on my birthday and hands me a note, right? He goes, "Sir, I just wanted this, a little present that I wanted to give you. I wrote this yesterday. You know, you can read it whenever you, you know, it's 2 pages." And I just read this thing, and it was just rewarding and sad, because you can see what his home life was like, how he also had a mistrust in males, which was the biggest thing. I actually saw that. He goes, "I never genuinely thought I could trust another male ever again until I met you. And I thought everything you were doing was," he actually said, he goes, "everything you were doing I thought was fake. The talking to me, the saying, asking how I'm going, seeing how I am every day," until he actually started to ask his friends that he started to make in the class. And they're like, no, he's been like that since you're 7. He's always asking. He's always checking up on us. He's having those conversations with us. And the list went on about how I've changed the way he views males and how he sees, you know, sees us. And it just went on and on and on and on and on. And the impact I've had on him for the whole year. And I actually glued that letter to the back of my diary. So if I'm ever having a bad day, I just read it. And I've read it, and I remember the moment I read that, I ran up to him in the, like, I just said, "I can't believe the things you've wrote in that letter. I can't believe I've done that for you." He goes, "Sir, seriously, you've been the best teacher I've ever had."
Wow.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
And I think that one hits me the most. And I remember the second we had that conversation, he was like, "I want to do jiu-jitsu because of you. I wanted to punch," you know what I mean? Like, I remember, because I remember he was telling me he was, unfortunately, in terms of like money wasn't obviously, you know, abundant supply in his home. And he said, spoke to Robert. Robert said, "Look, bring him. Free of charge.
We'll sort it out.
For you know, until he finishes high school. He's welcome here. We'll sort him out with a gi. We'll do everything we need to do. We will." And I told him, and then he was like super excited. He genuinely couldn't believe someone went out of his way just to support him with that. So that was, you know, it hit home for me, that one. It was just like one of those like slap in the face moments where you're like, wow, I am genuinely making a difference for some of these kids. And it's just, you don't realize.
That's just amazing.
Until you go, "Here's a letter. Thank you very much."
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And the fact he took the time to do that, like, you know, really that impact. And it sounds like from such hurt to such inspiration and now having direction and finding himself. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Any last remarks, like from your teaching skills at this point in time with the topics that we had today? How would you like to close the podcast, our talk? giving advice?
We're closing already. I don't know. We got some
still
more
got more
questions.
questions.
Oh, go.
Let's go
Okay,
questions.
go for it.
Come on.
Edit this out. Cut this out.
Now, my last question would be, obviously, there is a teacher shortage. You've clearly shown you've had a great career in teaching so far. What message could you put out there to young people contemplating teaching or people in different industries thinking about coming over that would bring them to our industry?
I'll be honest with you. I've had 2 people that I've spoken to in the last week that are genuinely looking into becoming teachers at the moment. One of my friends is a butcher. He's actually looking. I said to him, I go, man, what are you doing? You're unhappy with being a butcher. Why don't you come over to teaching? Be in the DT department. Go into woodwork. Go into metalwork. Go into cooking.
The best department.
Seriously. And he sat there and he looked at me. He goes, I go, man, the department has got fast track things, and they will like when you apply, they've got scholarships that they will pay to. And I go, he genuinely looked at me and said, I said to him, I go, mate, it is one of the best careers that you will ever have, and we're not going to be millionaires. We all know we're not going to be millionaires, okay? And that's okay. But the kids that we teach might.
Yeah.
You know, we might set them up for a great life. Maybe me teaching them science isn't going to get them to that life, but maybe me teaching them how to communicate, how to empathize with other people, how to just be a different person may change them, right? So 100%, if you want a rewarding career where you're going to be able to make a difference in some young person's life, and that's where you can make the differences, to be really honest. Like I remember the things that Rob would do for me. Like I was a young kid that was just, you know, I just didn't have, like, not that I never had direction. I had supportive parents. They pushed me to be better in school and things like that. But then sometimes it needs, and you know, we love our parents and everything, but you need that different role model. And Rob was this 6'2", muscly dude that would teach me maths. And I was like, wow.
He's got biceps.
People can look like that and still know maths. Yeah. Maths is cool now. But man, look, for example, another person that was studying psychology, and I said, what are you doing, man? Come and be a psychologist at one of our schools. He's like, why? I go, dude, you can change the life of a student. You can make an impact. Yes. So important. And we would love more, you know? Kids, look, like I said, kids change from day to day. You get a kid coming in today and they're super happy. Tomorrow they might be angry. You know, that's the wave we ride. And as long as we're able to ride the wave and support these kids the best way we can, man, there is not a better career that you can find. Like I know my brother and my sister, I've seen other people, you know, working in at jiu-jitsu. There's 100 different industries that we train with every day, and we see and look at how they all are, and, you know, the stresses and things like that come through. Sure, we've got them too, but the reward factor at the end when a kid comes up to you and gives you that letter to say, what an impact you've had on my life. You know what I mean? Like I tell Rob all the time, like, man, you've changed my life the way you've been from me, like walking into your...
I think we all have that one teacher that at certain point in time, that one teacher that just turned things for you.
Yeah, the right person at the right time.
Right person at the right time came. And I was lucky enough, it was a maths teacher, hence maths. And was fortunate enough to have the same guy for 5 years, year 8, year 9, year 10, year 11. And then it was replaced by a young teacher. And now she's the head of the department as well. And she did a phenomenal job too. So once the teachers line up for you, absolutely change your life. Any other questions? What would you like to ask Stoyan, or Stoyan yourself?
I was the question E today. I don't think I have many questions right now.
Rob, do you have a final question you would like to ask?
Actually, now, okay, you're in the classroom. What is, within reason, you can explain to us, a situation where you had to step in for a teacher, where the teacher got it wrong?
How about we go and talk about the time I got it wrong? I think that's probably one of the best things. All right, because I had this boy last year. He ended up being my best student, right? But like all situations, there is, at the beginning of each year, there's a teething period, right? And the noise was coming from his corner. I gave him a warning. I gave him another warning. I told him he's staying back. The whole class left, told him to sit, starts arguing with me. I started talking with him. And then he's like, sir, this is where it clicked because I could tell how emotionally he was getting. Sir, you blamed me and the noise came from behind me. And that's not fair. And then I looked at him and I said, this is where I've stuffed up. I go, the noise probably did come from behind him and I blamed the wrong boy. And now I need to man up. So when I've got it wrong myself, I've looked at him and go, you know what? You're probably right. And I'm sorry. That was wrong. For that, I apologize. Yeah. And I think a lot of teachers don't realize, and I think in general, people in general, like saying sorry is not a weakness. Having a conversation and going, man, you know what? I got it wrong. My bad. Just own it. Like, it was the biggest thing. And I said to this kid, and I looked at him, I go, you know what? You're right. I stuffed up on that one. My bad. And I apologize. You're right. He was the one that did it. I looked up. You were the first face that was looking at me, and I thought it was you. That was wrong. Now I'm sorry. Do we agree the other thing was wrong that you did? And he's like, you know what, sir? You're right. I was. So after I got it wrong, he went out. The next time he came to my class, I go, hey, we're going to have a good lesson? He goes, I don't know. If you want to, sir. And I looked at him, I go, I want to. I want to. Do you want to? He goes, yeah, I want to too. And we had a little giggle. Yeah. And genuinely, he became one of the best kids. Actually, to be fair, that class was phenomenal. That year 9 class I had last year. But that boy and I had a great relationship from week 2 to now. He's just been a fantastic student. And it was just the point where I knew the reaction I was getting, the way I was speaking, the way he was speaking, and I go, something's not right in this situation. And this, so we understand it as well, a lot of people can't pick up the cues straight away. It takes time, it takes practice. I mean, I've gone through, I went from being a regular teacher to retraining into another role, to becoming year advisor, to becoming boys mentor, to becoming uniform coordinator. You know what I mean? Like, you start to pick up these things where these kids are going, hold on a minute, have I gone the wrong way in this conversation? So we do make a mistake. I know I do. I'm not perfect, right? But know when you have, say sorry. It's all good. The kids look at you different. They look at you like a human being. That we're not robots anymore.
That's right.
And that's, I think, the biggest thing. I think once they see us as human beings, because they genuinely think that when they walk out, we're vampires. We just stay in the school.
We sleep at school.
We sleep at school. We eat at school. We party at school. That's all it is. We're just at school. And obviously there must be like a Myers or David Jones there where we buy our clothes at school. But once they realize that and they see us for people that actually adventure out past the school gates, they look at us different. They're like, wow. And I know this student looked at me and goes, I remember talked to the kids afterwards and he goes, he actually said sorry to me. I can't believe it. Yeah. And I go, why wouldn't I? I've made a mistake. I apologize.
What about yourself, Chris? What's one point where you go, okay, this didn't go well for me?
Oh, look, I'll be honest, it happens all the time, We're all naturally emotional beasts, and we're brought up with contexts and situations that we're not going to be ready with. Looking back, probably more so my early career when I wasn't as short too, very similar sometimes, outbursts at students that when you weren't sure who it is, especially when you walk into a new class for the first time and you're building trust with students and all that and you're trying to figure out where they should go. Actually, if I could actually say where I believe I've gone wrong, it's actually a point you nailed before in that you can't let your emotions come to the forefront. You've got to stick to the facts. And that would probably be in my early career when I was actually getting a student would do something wrong and I was actually upset and, raising my voice in anger. That was a mistake. That's something that was clearly wrong, where it's more for me to stay composed and let the student know that I look angry and I'm more doing it from a disciplinary angle. It's not to be really have my emotion there. If your emotions take over, that's when things go wrong. But when you can compose yourself and then actually stick to the facts, as you said before, I think that's when you're on the right track. And then when you are wrong, you said it. Show your human side and let the students know, we make mistakes. I am sorry for my actions. And you help maintain that respect. That they see, he's a human, he does things wrong too. Makes them feel better than themselves. They're teenagers. They know they do things all the time that they might be right or wrong. But for them to know they can fix it too with an apology. We're role models, as you said before.
Thanks. Yeah, 100%. How about you, Rob?
Have you made any mistakes, Rob?
This month, this year,
Today's podcast.
in this podcast. Where do I start? Oh God, you know what? For my life, it's a list of mistakes that teach you. Absolutely, that have taught me to be able to run the tuition center, the martial arts center. And every time I reflect back and go, okay, what did I do? What did I do? I'm the one in charge. What my actions have led to this situation unfolding. Biggest one was first starting tutoring. You get the marks. Okay, let's go. We're on. And used to get marks. How did your UAI go back then? I got 35, but I got 96% in maths. Okay, that didn't go too well. Well, the maths did, but didn't see the overall picture. And in time, it's highlighted to you in your face. When things go wrong, it's almost, okay, wow, it's right here, directly in your face. That's just one incident. Another incident was actually first time at a school. Okay, what are the policies? You can't do this, you can't do that, you can't get it, okay, be careful with this, be careful with that, okay. And a student looked at their phone. We have a no phone policy. They put it in their pocket. Hey, look at your phone, you put it in your pocket. No, I didn't, it's not in my pocket. I went around and I pulled it out of their pocket. Okay, I didn't, it wasn't emotional. He's lying to me, it's obviously in his pocket. I pulled it out of his pocket. And the year advisor at that time, he had a good word to me. I went, this is not good. I've really stuffed this up. So I pulled the student over and went, okay, was it in your pocket? Was it in your pocket? Were you using it? So I wasn't using it. I believe you now. I really believe you weren't. Okay, we're clear, we're good. I let him go. I let him go because I stuffed up. Really, really stuffed up. And it was a no hands-on policy. Yeah. And I kind of forgot that, and I learned that lesson really quickly. Another big one was first time in there, I didn't express to the teacher that was helping me that I was on aspirin, had a bit of a headache, and the class ran a bit out of control. The teacher really got annoyed with me at that time. And I went, okay, I took the advice on, okay, great, no problem. She's a support teacher. And then okay, great, next time it'll be different. You watch, I'll show you. But it got to my head teacher. And I went, okay, this is it, man. It's on now. I'm the boss, I'm in charge of this room, I will do it. The head teacher calmed me down and went, but it annoyed me because how can I get back to my head teacher? We discussed it together here, okay, it's on. I looked at this person that was helping me. I watched her for a week and went, she's a really nice lady. Like, this is someone that can really, really help me in the class. And I went, okay. And I built that relationship from there. And like you said, that emotional connection, I wasn't sure in the room. I was used to being in charge. I'm the one always, dictating things. But then all of a sudden in this class, well, she was right. She did have that opinion, and I did let the class get out of hand, no matter what my situation is. And that's just 1 year.
Yeah. And that's where you've got to be fair on yourself too.
Yeah,
You're coming in.
And now she's, I'm actually good friends.
Yeah.
I really respect that, and I really want her to work with me again this year.
Yeah.
And so these are just one things in 1 year. So for me, myself, it's always that critical factor. Okay, what have I done in this situation to escalate things? And I can just go on and on and on with teaching. Stuffed him up a few times.
Once or twice.
Yeah,
mentally, physically.
Oh no, I could go on with 5 things that I actually wronged him, and then went, okay, wait, you're the adult. You're the one that's 20 years older, and you got to retrace your steps that led to that action, not just him, with everyone else around. And as a teacher, that you want to develop growth. For me, it is my biggest thing. Yeah. What am I doing? How am I doing this? Is there a better way of doing it? We've got, there's another teacher, Nick, will give us the rap analysis on it, okay, with your teaching, etc. Okay, what do you think? So, well, like you said, admitting your faults, for me, is my biggest thing. It's my biggest thing, because as a professional, this is what it means for me to be a professional. My teaching should be different in 5 years' time than what it is now. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I'd go stale. It'd be boring. Why am I doing this? I'll do something else. Yeah. So from my perspective, It's a part of the growth, and this is why we actually started the podcast.
That's
me
right.
and you.
So we're ongoing learning, learn from our peers, and I think you highlighted something really good there, that we fail forward. You know, it's one thing to do the wrong thing, but what is the learning? How do we change it for next time? Like we said about our students before as well, them learning from their behaviours, we're going to learn as well too. You know, we're learning in these dynamic environments. You know, we want to continue to grow and get better.
Absolutely.
100%.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Stoyan.
Thank you for having me.
You're a wealth of knowledge. You were our first ever guest. And
And we're going to have you on again.
I would love to be here. That'd be fantastic.
It's going to be a lot of pressure for our next guest. It'll be as good. We'll see, eh?
We'll see.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was just going to say one last thing. I didn't touch on it before. If that's okay, I could finish off.
for it.
Yeah, but sure.
One last thing. Just remember, particularly with a beginning teacher, there are teachers that have things down pat. Don't be scared to ask a teacher to observe a class. Don't be scared to learn something from somebody else, because the biggest thing you're going to do, and I know when I was younger, I would go and see different classrooms and I would steal what would work for them and put it into my practice. Yeah. And I would learn from everybody. Remember, we're all gifted in our own little way. Find the thing that works best for you. You don't have to recreate the wheel. Find something, go with it. If it works, awesome. Add it to your arsenal. If it doesn't, no worries. That was great. Maybe it'll work for somebody else in the future. Find something else that does. You know, and I know that this because I have like a lot of teachers send their prac students to me. They go watch him. He knows what he's doing in the classroom. You know, just always have that communication with others to figure out how to deal with.
Absolutely. That's what made my job easy.
Yeah.
Best thing I did in starting as a teacher. I asked their teacher, she came in, okay, take a sit at the back. Just give me a list of points. What's happening? And just observe. She went, okay, yeah, take a seat.
And even with the rest of the maths department too, you've learned so much.
Oh, but with her specifically, this is new to me. Now, in my environment, this is my environment, the tuition's not the martial art. This is different. Great, what I'm good at, obviously, I'm good at, but there are many things that are missing. The points she gave me helped me more than anything that was ever written for me at university. Yeah. I stuck those points up on my little notice things, and all right, read one, boom, okay. Walk up and down, stand behind, okay. Simple things of don't stand too much at the front, stand at the back. Simple commanding of the room and how the students were helped me immensely. So even take it to that one step further. Actually ask an experienced teacher or the head teacher to actually come into your classroom, sit at the back, give me 3 points to work on. That's it. Just give me these 3 points and I'll work on them in one term. It will change your teaching, I promise you, and it did for me. And
it's actually a very good practice the way he said it too, because, you do take some things from other teachers, some things you like, and you try them, and maybe they don't work for you and your teaching style and your own personality style, but then you see another teacher, and then you get all these different strategies, and then that helps cultivate your own practice there too. So that's actually some really great advice there.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm Chris Kaladakis.
I'm Robin Amoski.
And I'm Stoyan Kosteski.
See you all next time.
See you next time, guys.
Thank you. Mate.
Well done.